Hello everyone, welcome to another Classic Movie Monday, and today I'm going to be briefly reviewing the film Fargo, as you can see by the title. The interesting thing that I find about Fargo is that I find it to be one of the more, I think, well-recognized of the Cohen Brothers works, and it also, I think, has a interesting approach when it comes to filmmaking and doing these crime-oriented stories. And it's interesting to see this Cohen Brother film in particular because it focuses on crime in a very interesting sort of way, as opposed to, I think, a lot of other crime dramas or films that are focused on homicide in particular. Now, the interesting thing about Fargo is that we have a pregnant woman as our as our leading protagonist, Marge Gunderson, who is played by Frances McDormand, and she is a very likable protagonist, to say the least. Usually, the female protagonists are not usually given this kind of role. Usually, crime dramas center around a male protagonist going against another male protagonist, but here we have a female who is really trying to sort of solve the mystery, and doing so while 7 months pregnant. So that kind of adds a little bit of funny moments in there. But regardless, this homicide in particular that Marge ends up focusing on involves William H. Macy's character, who plays basically a used car salesman named Jerry Lundegaard. And the interesting thing about this film is that there's a lot of collaboration between various characters, and there's always motivations with these characters. You really do see that, and especially with the villains. William H. Macy's character, Jerry, is sort of down on his luck, and you will see this in the beginning of the film. And as a result, he goes to these various extremes, and he hires two criminals, played by Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, and basically he creates this whole elaborate plan in order to get money. And you will see the repercussions of this if you choose to watch the film, but really that's the film in a nutshell without really giving anything away as to what occurs within the plot. But again, I find it rather unique that, again, we do have a female cop sort of on the case, and not only is she a good female cop, but she's a rather interesting character because she has a lot of likable qualities to her, and you do see how she's really trying to bring out the sort of humanity with what she does by going after these criminals and trying to solve this case. And you sort of see the pathetic nature of William H. Macy's character, Jerry, as the story goes on, and how he ultimately hasn't really amounted much to anything in life. And you really do see how these extremes really are what lead him sort of to his downfall. And I like how the film focuses in on these themes of greed, and how sort of Marge's character sees beyond that, and really questions why the people that she's trying to catch would do the things that they do. And I think she is that pivotal character that I think is something that you that the audience can get invested in, and someone that the audience can admire and enjoy watching. And I think as a result, this is what really makes the film. It is a combination of good plot and characters, I think, that ultimately result in the final product. And the other interesting thing about Fargo is it has these sort of awkward moments too, with the kind of culture, because this is supposed to take place, I think, in North Dakota, and they kind of have this interesting accent. At least some of the characters do, going throughout the film. I think even Marge kind of does have the accent, and it's sort of interesting because you sort of see that really American kind of backdrop where there's not a whole lot of people, but they have this very sort of unique accent and their own ways of conversation that is not really, I guess, the same as maybe someone living in a bigger city, so it's really interesting to have it be from that approach as opposed to a lot of other crime dramas that usually I think take place in really, really big metropolitan cities where there's like a lot of crime, and here we have sort of a rather obscure location for a crime drama. So I think that's something that's really interesting, and I think what makes the film stand out in particular. But I think that's really ultimately all I can really say about Fargo without giving anything away. I think that it holds itself to this classic standard because it has been recognized for its approach to this kind of film, and it has been noted as a film in general for being of good quality, and I think this really shows if you choose to watch the film. I guess if you don't mind these little awkward tidbits throughout the film, you will, I think, enjoy it overall. It just kind of depends if what I'm saying sounds interesting to you. If you like this idea of having it take place not in a big city but in sort of an obscure location. If you like the fact that there's a female who's the person who tries to solve the crime. If you like the idea of having these criminals be the criminals of the story, and kind of seeing the weak and pathetic nature that they take. If you like to see them sort of receive, again, an amount of justice, then this is a film that I think will take you in. But if you don't find any of this appealing, then I'd say probably that this is not a film that is for you. But I would put this in the classic category, not just because of its recognitions, but I think it just executes a crime drama in a very interesting and unique way, because again, you've got the location is not the same as a lot of other crime dramas. The main character who's trying to solve the crime is not a typical character that really solves crime, and the villains aren't really, I guess you could say some of them are so quasi-typical, but some of them are not, depending on, I guess, how you would want to look at it. But I think there's still some motivations within them, and you kind of do see why some of them take the extremes that they do. Even though you may not really ultimately sympathize with them at the end. And again, that's kind of how I felt too. I really didn't sympathize with the criminals, but I understood their motivations. Yes, I think, though, that's really all I can say. However, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.